All right, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order for the White Bear Township Board of Supervisors. We have an agenda for the evening. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
No.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
So moved.
Is there a second? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion to approve payment of bills?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor of paying the bills, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes for the January 2016 meeting are in our agenda packet tonight. Are there any corrections, comments regarding the submitted minutes?
I saw no corrections. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the January 20th, 2016 meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion is made and seconded. Those in favor of approving the minutes of January 20, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 5 is a consent agenda. There's 2 items on that. Steve, would you read those, please?
Yes, consent agenda item 5A, adopt a resolution to participate in the I-35E corridor management team for 2016. Item 5B, call a special joint town board / planning commission closed attorney-client meeting for Wednesday, February 3rd, 2016, at 6:00 PM at the Township Administrative Offices at 1281 Hammond Road. Motion to approve those 2 items, 5A and B.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye. Any opposed? Item 6 on the agenda is old business, and the only item under old business is water efficiency grant, and we're looking to review and authorize execution of the grant agreement, and this is with the Metropolitan Council. Bill, is that yours?
Yes. The grant is for $24,000, which is a 75% grant, 25% matched by the township for $8,000 pursuant to special funds available made through Metropolitan Council for water efficiency. We announced the providing the grant at the last town board meeting and gave an overview of it. Tonight's action is actually to receive the grant agreement and receive it, approve it, and authorize signature. So nothing in this has changed from the acknowledgement and announcement of receipt of the grant. The town attorney's had a chance to review the grant agreement, and his comments are on pages 25, 26, and 27. And we've reviewed each of the comments. A lot of them are just sort of notes and clarifications. Specifically, though, there is some language in our application, which is an exhibit included in the grant agreement that has a time schedule on it. And the very beginning of the time schedule in our grant application indicated that we expected the town board to receive and approve the grant agreement on January 20th, but we didn't actually receive it until the soonest we could put in front of you was tonight, February 1st. And so I contacted the grant manager of the grant process, the grant administrator of Metropolitan Council, and he said that the council acknowledges that getting the grant agreement out to us took more time than they thought, and they will not hold us responsible for meeting the deadlines, which we couldn't meet because we didn't have the agreement.
Will they reissue a whole new timeline for all these?
No, what he said is we can modify the timeline.
Okay.
No, that's at our discretion, we can
Yes.
modify it. So basically, we can just prorate all these February 1 deadlines, push them out another.
Actually, a lot of the other
15
deadlines don't
days.
have to change. It's just the deadlines that go through January 21st that have to be changed. The rest of them we can satisfy.
Well, I know you had a number of action items on February 1st, so obviously we can't do
Yep.
that.
Bill,
We
does-
can change those dates to February 10th,
Second,
or
Yeah.
whatever is appropriate.
yep.
Does that change the end run of August 30th, 2017?
No.
And that's not a concern of ours.
Okay, Chad, did you have any other legal issues or
Not really.
Comments?
I think Bill's highlighted the important
Okay.
points, is keep track of the deadlines, make sure we follow the guidelines. Also, the staff has to be aware of the reporting requirements, make sure you follow those. Should be fine. There are no real traps here, just
Okay.
be careful.
And Bill, I know we've talked about this before, but just briefly for the benefit of residents watching the meeting here, could you go over the basic concept of what these grant monies would be used for? Who would receive these grants, and what kind of grant?
Yes.
Levels of grants would be
In
distributed?
fact, I've got a handout. And I'll read it, but pass this down to the town board too.
Bill, is the 8,000 for the township's part, that come out of sewer and water fund?
Yes. All right, in the overview, Metropolitan Council, through funding from the Clean Water, Land, and Legacy Amendment, has awarded the township a water efficiency grant. The goal of the grant program is to improve municipal water use. This grant funding has enabled White Bear Township to provide rebates to our residents who replace existing devices with specified water-efficient products through June 30th, 2017. The rebate program provides that it's only available to White Bear Township water utility customers with non-delinquent accounts. The product must be installed at the address listed on the account. The product must be purchased between September 30th, 2015 and June 30th, 2017. So there are some folks who may qualify for the grant who actually acquired them prior to today. And that's a clarification that we got from the Metropolitan Council staff in the last couple of weeks. The product must, expenses eligible for the rebate are the out-of-pocket cost of the product and its installation only, not to include any owner labor costs. In addition, new construction and new developments are ineligible, as the program is intended as a current infrastructure replacement program. The rebate is for 100% of the cost of the item up to a maximum of $150 for Energy Star washing machines, $200 for WaterSense toilets, and $200 for WaterSense labeled irrigation controllers. And then we go through a process on how to apply. I don't think I need to go through that. And
So this document will be on the township's website?
yes,
Okay.
We've had some inquiries already, have we not, Bill, as to this program?
lots,
Lots. I think we had
lots, maybe 20.
That's good. I know it was on the website, or the Facebook page
Yep.
immediately, so.
Yep, we've already placed a lot of this information out.
Okay. Any questions for Bill?
No.
So what we're looking for, and like I said, we've gone through this before, and then nothing has been really changed. So what we're looking for is to approve a resolution to accept and execute the Clean Water Fund grant agreement.
Yep, and there is a resolution drafted for your consideration
That's
on page 28.
28 of the packet. Okay?
Just one clarification now, if obviously if the 24,000 isn't used, it's returned to Met Council, correct?
Yes.
And so
Actually,
out of the
It's
24,
not that
the
it's
8,
returned. It's a reimbursement program. So we only get reimbursed up to
all
$24,000.
right, I got you. And then, okay, so we don't have to worry about where that money would sit and what fund, okay.
And if the state pulls the money, then the program, they're not on the hook, the Met Council is not on the hook for any of it at this point, or us.
Okay.
All right, I would move to approve the resolution for the Metropolitan Council Clean Water Fund Grant Agreement, number SG 04418.
And authorize execution of the document?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so now we can start saving water. Soon. Okay, item 7 on the agenda is for new business, and the first new business item is the 2016 seal coat project. There's 2 parts to that. Dale, is that yours?
Good evening, Supervisor Kermes and Pruton and Rusick. Yes, that is my item. We're going to continue the program as we have for the past several years of the Seal Coat project. This year, the area includes the area from Centerville Road west to the railroad tracks, north of Highway 96, the area south of Fox Meadow Park in the 2011 reconstruct area, and east of White Bear Parkway, east on White Bear Parkway and west of Oakmead Lane, including White Bear Parkway from Beeble Road to Oakmead Lane, that portion of White Bear Parkway, Constellation Drive, Anderson Lane, Province Lane, Saxony Court, and Berry Lane and Bartella Court. The portion of Berry Lane would be just the portion, a few lots north of the cul-de-sac of Berry Lane. The specifications, the only thing that's changed from last year is the dates. The start date is July 11th. And targeted start date, it would typically takes 3 to 4 days for the town to, once they start to seal coat. And that July date is based upon staff's ability to get the preparation work done ahead of time and anticipate for the work for the seal coat application. And then the completion date is August 5th. So that could, typically it started right around that target date in the last 5 years. We have $110,000 budgeted in the CIP for seal coating, crack sealing, and engineering costs. We have not encumbered any engineering costs in the last few years. Most of it's been just directly applied to the seal coat project and the crack sealing work. So I anticipate that this year's project will be estimated at $95,000, leaving $15,000 for seal coat or crack sealing. So depending on the bids, I could have more more money to do more work, or I may have to reduce the scope of work if come in higher.
Okay, we're committed to that $110,000.
Finance officer says stick with that number.
Okay. Okay. Any questions for Dale?
Dale, on White Bear Parkway, north of Bebo, is part of that shared with the city?
I'm sorry, we start right at Bebo and go south around.
Or south, I mean, but is that, there's a section there, is that part of the city on the other side of the road? It's not?
I want to say if it is, it's a portion, the small portion, a little clip of it might be Venice Heights.
Pardon me, yes,
Oh, it'd be Bandus Heights, not White Bear?
Venice Heights.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Just us, it ain't.
Does that mean they would be involved or help cost share?
I can talk to their public works director.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know how much of it is. I guess I've never looked at the fine line of the map.
It's a good point to bring up because this is the first year we've seal coated that roadway because it was rebuilt in 2011, so.
What's the option there? If they decline to participate, you just start seal coating off of the parkway?
We could just do our half of the road?
I hope it doesn't come to that.
Nah, I think
Okay.
we can work between the two cities,
All right.
town and
We
the
have
city.
excellent cooperation
Yes.
with the city of Venice Heights and their engineering staff. I expect it'll go smooth.
Yes.
Okay. That's a good detail to pick up, though.
Thank
All right,
you.
any other questions? So Dale,
no.
I'm sorry.
Nope,
Okay, so
nope.
Dale, you're looking for 2 action items, and first is to approve the plans and specs for the project, and then the second is to authorize for
Bidding.
solicitation of bids.
Correct.
Okay.
I'll make a motion based on the Public Work Director's review and recommendations for first action to approve the plans and specifications for the 2016 Seal Coat project as outlined on the maps included in the meeting packet with funding from the Township's Improvement Fund 505. And, go ahead.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve the plans and specs. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the second item, action item requested?
Based on the Public Works Director's review and recommendation, authorize the advertisement for bids for the 2016 Seal Coat project and set the bid opening date for Thursday, March 10th, 2016, at 9 a.m. in the town administrative offices.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
A motion is made and seconded to authorize the advertisement for bids. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. And Dale, your next item under new business is the radio read purchase for township water meters.
That's correct. Going to continue the program that we started here 3 years ago, and this will be the 4th year. We've roughly got half our radios in at this point, working with utility billing to clarify where we're at exactly, but that estimated at half. We are going to purchase another group of 300 touch coupler mounted radio, FlexNet radios to mount over these touch coupler mounted ones, fit right over the existing touchpad. And then we have to program them. The process takes about 15 minutes a site, and then we move on, and then utility billing will add those into the radio route once it's done at taking it off the touchpad read. So it's just something we've done for the last couple of years, just continuing on.
So we're still on track to finish this up by the end of next year?
I'm hoping so, but I'm going to work with utility billing, make sure our numbers are correct.
Okay. And it's the same physical process that to install these radio reads. They're the same radio reads we've been installing. The connection is going to be the same process. The homeowner is
Very rare.
to see very much, if anything.
Yeah, what they will see is they'll see one of our employees at their house on the exterior somewhere where the touchpad's mounted, placing the unit on over the touchpad and taking and programming the unit, and it's about 15 minutes.
Okay.
I do believe we've been sending out a notice with the utility billing on the touchpad installations, and we can put it on our website too.
Any other questions? So your action requested is to approve the purchase of the readers.
Correct, from
There,
HD Supply.
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion based on the Public Work Director's report that he provided at the meeting. Review and recommendation, approve the purchase of 600, not 300, MXUs from HD Supply for up to $69,000 with funding provided by the Water Fund, noting that this is a continuation of the phased installment of the radio read devices that we've done previously.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the radio read installations. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That action item is completed. Thanks, Dale. All right, there's no additional added agenda items? That brings us up to open time. And I see audience participation here, and I will ask for any presentations, please introduce yourself with your address.
Well, my name is Mike Downing, 2569 South Shore Boulevard in White Bear Township.
My name is Tom Snell, 2695 South Shore Boulevard in White Bear Township.
As you know, Tom is
I gotta turn the mic on.
Kenny, you just wanted to get on camera.
Okay.
Is it operating, or should we just use the other mic? Okay. All right, let's try this again. Mike, if you'd introduce yourself one more time.
just trying to.
You can do it right.
He's on it.
Again, my name is Mike Downing, 2569 South Shore Boulevard in White Bear Township.
My name is Tom Snell. I'm at 2695
South Shore Boulevard in White Bear Township.
Thanks.
As you know, Tom is the executive director for the White Bear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce, as well as a member of the Friends of White Bear Lake. I'm a member of the Lake Level Resolution Committee for the White Bear Lake Conservation District, and I'm a recent addition to the Friends of White Bear Lake. As I understand it, the White Bear Lake Conservation District approved a motion in April of 2015 to become the fiscal agent for funding from the state of Minnesota. And that fiscal agent requirement would be to, if funds were made available through the state of Minnesota, that they would be the agency responsible for the construction as well as the maintenance of an augmentation system to the lake to address the lake level issue. Now on the White Bear Lake Conservation District at their November 17th meeting had a further discussion of what it means to be a fiscal agent. They talked about Joint Powers Task Force. So at the February 16th meeting in just a couple of weeks, they will be addressing it in more detail with a resolution from the Conservation District Attorney of what additional powers they would require to become the fiscal agent. Because it's very explicit in the formation of the Conservation District that water quality is one of their responsibilities, but water quantity is silent in the formation. So they will be making that request of the legislature. At the present time, the representatives from our area and senators from our area will be submitting bills to the legislature for the 2016 bonding bill that will include the construction, the design, engineering, construction, and the maintenance of augmentation, very similar to what has been done on Snail Lake as well as Gilfillan Lake. And we are making the assumption that the state will be funding 100% of the construction costs, the design costs, the engineering costs, and the maintenance costs if we were to go forward with augmentation. At the November 17th meeting of the Conservation District, a motion was made to authorize legal counsel to grant that, develop the language to get the expanded authority required. As I indicated, the new language will be reviewed at the February 16th meeting. So theoretically, you have tonight's meeting as well as the, is it February 15th? You have the next meeting?
Yes, for the board, yes.
To discuss
17th.
and to
Wednesday.
maybe make a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike, yeah, that's right, we have a holiday on the 15th, so it's
Yes.
February 17th,
Wednesday of that week.
Wednesday still.
Thank you for letting me know, because I was thinking on your website, it just kind of looked like you know, those are the two dates. But
Usually they are, but Monday, February 15th is a federal holiday, so we slipped 2 days.
well, it's important that it came today then, because we would like to make a special request of this board to support the White Bear Lake Conservation District to become the fiscal agent. The Conservation District is the only body that encompasses all the communities around the lake. It's the only entity that has responsibility for both Washington County and Ramsey County. and are in the best position to be the fiscal agent. If the Conservation District is not the fiscal agent, it means that we will not be getting the funding out of the 2016 legislative session. Means that we will have to wait until the 2018 legislative session, which is the next bonding year. So it's important that on February 16th, the Conservation District reaffirms their role as fiscal agent. And in doing so, we would like to propose that this board have either a motion to that effect or a letter to that effect of your support of the Conservation District to be the fiscal agent.
They may ask you to say that.
Right.
As I indicated, no augmentation would occur unless we have 100% funding by the state. The Friends of White Bear Lake see no other option at the present time for funding except for state funds. With that, I turn it back to you to see if you have, Tom, any other?
Just wanted to reaffirm this, that that our proposal, we have really strong bipartisan support for it. We have bonding legislation that is looking to be introduced by both Representative Matt Dean, whose district encompasses a portion of White Bear Township, and also Senator Chuck Uygur, who is one of the top senators from the other party, he is on the Finance Committee of the Senate. So there's broad support for this in our local community. And again, I want to reemphasize, we need to get the fiscal agent set up through the White Bear Lake Conservation District to make this happen. We're not asking the White Bear Township for any money. This is not a process that we're asking for any financial support, but just to just to understand the need and to support the effort that if, and this is just if we get the bonding support, as we explained, that the Conservation Board, or district, excuse me, would then be the fiscal agent.
I just had one general question. In these discussions, were there any other options or alternatives considered or proposed other than the Conservation District to be the fiscal agent?
Yes, but they would fall beyond 2016. If you look at other organizations like Ramsey County as an example, they have the timeline for Ramsey County to take legislative priorities and their strategic planning is a year to 2 years in advance. For us to reconsider the county to be the fiscal agent would mean it wouldn't be brought up until 2017, and the next bonding bill session is 2018.
And then the other...
So the only option that we can see at the present time is the Conservation District.
The other thing, too, is that White Bear Lake not only encompasses Ramsey County, but also Washington County. And so really the only logical choice that we have is the White Bear Conservation District because it represents all of the communities surrounding White Bear Lake. And again, this isn't, I want to reemphasize, this is not a request for any funding from the White Bear Township. It's just support for efforts to have the White Bear Conservation District be the fiscal agent.
Well, Mike, I thought at one time the Conservation District didn't feel like they were big enough or staffed enough to even attempt this.
Well, they made the motion in April that they would be the fiscal agent. They're on record as doing that. They are now looking into the details of more what it means. But Harry Melander is on the Met Council, and he also is a member of Friends of White Bear Lake. And he has indicated, and others have indicated, that the state when they release funds, we'll make sure whatever agency has the responsibility to be the fiscal agent has all the necessary requirements to be that. And they may not have the engineering or technical skills necessary to do this, but that can be contracted out to a variety of engineering firms and construction firms.
Is that where your joint powers agreement's coming into play then, to,
I think there's going to have to be, because I don't know the details, but we're only asking for at the present time is support for them to be 100% a fiscal agent, and that all the funding for this work would be supported by the state of Minnesota.
So the Conservation District would not be authorized any additional taxation authorities. They're strictly administering and managing funds that would totally come from the state under your proposal.
Exactly. We see no other taxing authority required. It is just we're taking state funds and administering those state funds per contract to engineering and construction firms, and then engineering firms to maintain it.
I want to add real briefly to that. We look at this as being a venue to both help White Bear Lake, gain water, and also an opportunity for support for our aquifer, because ultimately the water permeates down into the aquifer, and then there's less of a need to look at issues like going over to surface water, because we think that this would help offset potentially that desire by certain parties.
And, well, the only question I have is, that, they're having their legal counsel look at this, and that's not, if that's doing that on the 16th,
That is what they are going to either reaffirm the April or possibly retract it. But at the present time, if they retract it and there's no other alternative to be fiscal agent, those funds would not be in there, which then starts the clock again in August of 2016 for the settlement agreement. And the settlement agreement calls very specifically by August, there will be a phase one funding of a phase one plan to switch to surface water. Now, we see this as a good alternative, and if just bear with me.
We're not part of the lawsuit, I want to be real.
Neither of us are, but
anyway.
let me just.
Are either of you members of the homeowners association or the resident?
Theoretically, being homeowners, we are, but we were not part of that at all. We were never asked to be part of it.
Never asked and never attended any meetings, don't know
So
anything
actually,
about it.
you're part of two. You are on both the complainant side and the respondent side, because as members
We're
of.
not on the plaintiff side at all, because
No,
we're not.
have nothing to
we
do
had
with
nothing.
that.
I mean,
Nothing
other
to
than
do
your
with that at
members,
all.
you're members of the
Nothing to do
homeowners
with that.
association,
Technically.
technically. And they're,
I think, at some other time, we can talk through how that was formed and who was involved in it, because not all homeowners were engaged in participating,
But
or
on the
even
res-
asked to.
on the,
I was never asked.
on the
Yeah, I
defendant's
was
side.
never asked and never attended anything,
Or-
or never gave any money.
Not
I
one-
guess what I was trying,
I'll ask the town attorney also, let me butt in. I'll ask the town attorney to feel free to jump in if we touch on or start talking about any sensitive issues regarding the lawsuit, so.
They're not yet, you haven't,
Okay,
but.
all right, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But there's something has to be pointed out. This plan that is being proposed is not part of the settlement agreement, and actually would not in any way satisfy any of the obligations of the defendants under the settlement agreement. There actually has to be a separate plan proposed, separate study proposed, dealing with the conversion to surface water. Augmentation has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Well, let
The
me-
only reference, if I may, the only reference in the settlement agreement to augmentation is the fact that the interveners, the plaintiffs and interveners reserve the right to petition the legislature for augmentation. Augmentation is not, in fact, is actually opposed by the DNR. The town and the city took no position on that whatsoever. But in terms of the DNR, they still oppose augmentation.
Yeah,
So, just so we're clear, augmentation will not satisfy any of the obligations of the defendants and the defendant interveners under the settlement agreement.
Let me make a
Whole separate set of activities.
Exactly.
Let me make a comment for what I have understood from one of the members of the organization that was a plaintiff. And I don't know this name, but I'll just relay the information that I received, that Dick Allen, who's the lead co-counsel for the White Bear Lake Restoration Association in the lawsuit with the DNR, has said to the White Bear Press newspaper that obtaining funding for augmentation could result in a permanent end to the lawsuit. He's a very smart and thoughtful individual who would not say anything to that degree if he didn't believe this was the case, that the plaintiffs would remove themselves from this lawsuit if the funds are available and the construction would proceed forward.
And my response to that would be, I don't disagree. The plaintiffs and the plaintiff interveners always have the right to dismiss their lawsuit any time they wish. However, under the framework of the settlement agreement, augmentation does not satisfy the obligations of the DNR or the other defendant interveners, which would be the township or the city.
Yeah.
There are still both the defendants, especially the DNR, is required to propose to the legislature a request for funding of the plan to switch from wells to surface water.
Yep.
In fact, they're referred to as 1A and 2B in the settlement agreement.
And that is required and funding would be done in the 2016 legislative session. And there's a milestone of August, I don't know if it's August 16th, in the settlement agreement that the plaintiffs have to have that in place to move it forward.
We're
But
starting
we're
to,
moving off into the
just
weeds a
gonna say, we're
little
starting to
bit.
stray afield here
Yeah,
from
what we
your
do want-
basic
Yeah.
request.
The request is to support the fiscal agent, the White Bear Lake Conservation District being the fiscal agent, and wondered if you have any other questions, one way or the other, according to that request.
Well, I have one other question. What other communities have you met with, and where are they at with this same process?
Well, we are doing the same thing with the city. We've met with Bill Walsh, one of the city councilmen. We're meeting in another week with Joe Emerson from the city, and someone else is meeting with the new city manager of White Bear Lake. They've met with Delwood. They're having a meeting with Matt Dean and others with Madamidai, probably later this week or early next week. So all those things are being done at the present time.
So we're the first contact on
You're
your
the
list.
first contact because of the meeting today.
Okay.
And Bob, I'm glad that you sent that email to me because we would not have been able to meet prior to the February 16th meeting and get your approval.
Well, any other quick questions?
Just one. Mike, have you seen this SEH report on
I've
on
read
the
it
costs?
in detail.
Okay, is this what's going to be submitted for the bonding amount?
I would say that I would doubt that figure would be submitted in the bonding bill. There are other quotes being prepared at the present time. And there's a lot of silence in this report. As I said, there's no reference to the experience in Snail Lake as well as in Gilfillan Lake and what the costs actually were to operate and to maintain. And the cost, as you know, from Snail Lake was $60,000 a year for 2 years, and they've shut it down after 2 years because the lake filled up. So it's remarkable. As a former engineer, I'm amazed that engineering firms and 2 others that reviewed it did not include actual examples of what we're trying to accomplish as case studies in this engineering report.
Where I was going with this is if there were contingencies, if that's not accurate enough, if it's overruns or,
Well,
what are they gonna, where's the funds gonna come from?
Representative Dean at 3 weeks ago at the White Bear Lake Government Affairs, White Bear Lake Chamber of Commerce Government Affairs Committee meeting said, well, is this going to be a Chevrolet or a Cadillac quote? And he said, it'll be more like a Bentley or a Lamborghini. And obviously, if $55 million, it's a Bentley or Lamborghini quote. So we're going through it, but let me just reiterate, it's going to be 100% funded by the state, and or it won't happen.
Won't happen, yeah.
Well, all we can do tonight, Mike and Tom, is receive a report and your request. We really can't take action on it, but we can receive it and receive it for continuing consideration on the part of the board and staff.
Now, what does that mean in relation to February 16th
Means
conservation?
we have a pretty tight schedule.
Pardon
It
me?
means we have a pretty tight schedule, but it's going to be a tight schedule no matter what. If you're still visiting with 3 or 4 more communities, and the elephant with his snout under the tent that Ed's getting at, are we talking about a $60 million project or a $20 million project or
Yeah.
what? And there's a lot of moving parts.
Oh, yes.
That have been described in other meetings and presentations, and it's hard to get our arms around all of them. So at this stage, I wish there was a nice, clean, easy answer, but I don't think there is today.
Okay.
But at least we can receive the report, and I'll ask for a motion to do that, and that'll put it on our table for continuing consideration discussions.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, you understand that that's all they can do is receive the report.
I
They
understand.
can't adopt any resolutions tonight. That would have to
Correct.
be at a future meeting.
Yeah. I would do it if it was me, but
No, unfortunately, you can't. You can't.
So with that, I'll ask,
Yeah.
is there a resolution to that effect? Or does the
No, just,
board- Oh, I'm sorry.
not resolution, just
I-
motion
Did I
to,
say
motion to,
resolution?
yeah.
I'm sorry. Is the board inclined to make a motion to that effect?
John, I'll move to receive.
Is there a second?
And I'll second it.
Motion's made and seconded to receive the report. Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. If there's no other open time, just, oh,
I have something for open time, unless this gentleman sitting in the back
Okay.
has something at the last second.
I guess you have it.
All right. I happened to see something in the White Bear Press, looking back, it's called Matoshka Memories, for the week of January 24th, 1991. When Bill Malinan, White Bear Township Clerk Treasurer, resigned late last year to accept a position as a city manager of a sunny California community, town planner, economic development coordinator Bill Short also became the active clerk treasurer. After juggling both jobs for several months, the town board has took him up on his offer to become the permanent clerk treasurer and planner, and instead of hiring another planner, hire someone to handle the community, financial, and public safety duties. Oh, how time has flown.
25 years.
You're into paper, Bill. What a memory.
You wear a lot of hats.
Things have changed.
I was around then. You had darker hair then, too.
Less miles.
Blonde.
All right. If there's no other open time issues, is there a motion to receive agenda materials and supplements?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We are adjourned.